So what's your relationship status, bro?
Right now?
Yeah.
Definitely single.
Definitely single?
Yeah.
All right, so I understand that you're around a lot of beautiful women.
Yeah.
A lot. How are you able to keep your name so clean? And my second question is, are you involving yourself with people that you're around? Like, I feel like you have a very clean name. You'll never hear nothing bad about it. Are you able to maintain just friendships? Or are there times where it's like, nah, I want to do this, but I'm going to just be low about it?
Sure. Hey, I started this off to get that bread. I did what I did. Go and get that money, then go stash it and forget it's dead. I did calculations with this shit, you gotta be in the head. Gotta sacrifice for what you want, I don't care what it is.
What's up, viewers? Welcome to another episode 7 of Untitled Interviews. I'm your host, Jajuan. Today we got a very special guest, Martell Hardy, curator, photographer. I like to look at him as a marketing up-and-coming genius, doing a lot of different stuff. We actually talked about doing this interview months back when I first did my first one, so it's nice to have you on. How you doing, bro?
Appreciate you.
I do want to do a nice little toast, bro, and everything you got going on. You got special
got
people
you.
on here, so congratulations on everything you're doing.
How you want to drink? I don't ever drink wine out of glass, not gonna lie to you.
Before we even get into the interview, just want to check in, what type of space you're in your life, how you doing mentally, physically, financially. How's life right now for you?
It's going good. Like, I swear, everything's going as planned, I would say. Like, nothing's going wrong. Money's good, could be more. You know what I'm saying? But, the work ethic is there. I'm just trying to stay on top of things, for real.
You want to kind of tell the audience specifically, like, just what space you're entering, whether it be as a creative or somebody who's with you 23?
Yeah.
Like, kind of what space you're entering in your life, like, what's going on for you?
I would say more so, last month was like a new chapter in my life, like starting something new, really building up Hardy Studios, and also, I don't know, cutting a lot of people out of my life that, don't really do much for me, in a sense.
So, you just making that point, as a creator and someone who wants a lot out of life, how is it when you have friendships or relationships that no longer serve you? Like, what's the process like as goes as far as cutting somebody off or getting rid of them out of your life? Is there a certain like key point where it's like, you know what, that's enough? Or it's just like...
No, with me, I'm pretty like a straightforward person, for real. So if friendship wise, if things aren't really cutting out, for real, it's like we just fade away basically.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess like relationship wise, it's more so of a talk. It's more so of a talking. Really sitting there saying like, I don't think this can go on anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, it's more so of more conversation than like a friendship, where as we just fade away.
Okay. So, what I would say that I've noticed, bro, a lot of people like you, right? And I kind of want to talk about how I became privy of you, because it didn't start off. You don't know this, and I saved this specifically for the interview, but it ain't start off with love, right? So okay. I used to I used to mess with this girl a while back, right?
Okay.
And we was kind of on and off or whatever, and we stopped talking in like October of last year.
Okay.
And I used to be toxic, not anymore, but I used to be toxic. And what I would do is like, I'm gonna send some flowers 6 to 8 months ahead. Like, I'm gonna send them to get there on Valentine's Day. And we may not be talking then, but that'll be a way that you remember me, right? So
yeah.
Turns out I'm with the girl the following Valentine, or the day after Valentine's Day, right? We get back to her spot. I forget, we might have went out to eat or something, and there's flowers on the table. So she's like, "Oh my God, you got me some flowers." I'm like, "Did I?" I was like, "I don't really remember." I was like, "Oh, I think I did." I was like, I told myself that I was gonna send them. I was like, "But I don't remember doing it." And she checked the name, and it was yours. I was like, "Oh yeah, it's smoke. I can't."
That's insane.
I was like, "Oh yeah,
that's
it's smoke for this nigga."
That's insane.
But honestly, I mean, I respect it. It wasn't my girl or nothing, so I was like, that's the game, Players is gonna play. But that's how I kind of became, aware of who you are as a person. And the first thing she said, she was like, "That's just how Martell is." But that's not the first time I've heard that from a woman. So how have you been able to establish such good relationships with women in the city? Because literally, I went through your follower page, went through the followers on Hardy Studios, and it's straight women. So like, how have you been able to acquire such a big female fan base?
Well, I grew up around all women. Both my mom and dad, had a lot of sisters. Mm-hmm. Literally, they were my dad was the only brother. He was the little brother, and my mom was the youngest too. And I grew up around a whole lot of aunts. So I would say just them teaching me a lot. I always tell people, like, my mom taught me how to keep a woman. My dad taught me how to get a woman. So, like that, yeah.
Well, yeah, bro, I'm not gonna lie. I was sick. Even the first time we met, I was like, but then I was over it. But I was like, I want to tell him. I was like, no, I gotta say this for an interview.
No,
but I just thought that
funny. That's hilarious.
I thought that was like a classical way because it's definitely you. Like I've seen you send plenty of women flowers and etc. So for it to happen to me, I was like, oh yeah, I'm not fucking with this. But I respect.
Yeah, that's just how I am. Swear, I grew up like around a lot of romance and stuff. So like I said, my dad taught me a lot about that. You know, how to please a woman, basically.
So do you feel like so obviously everybody that is a fan or talking to you or whatever, you're not dealing with them on an emotional or intimate level. So even separately from how you decide to treat women, what is the process or steps? Like, how have you been able to grasp a fan base of women versus like good relationships?
Like a fan base.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of women want to be a part of what you're doing, or I just see women talking about you, and it's like, okay, there's something there. Like that's how you really. I've learned that when it comes to somebody being big, whether it be in music or whatever, if you can establish that female fan base, they're going to take care of everything for you, and that's something that you kind of mastered already. So just that part.
I really don't even know how it like came along. Like I said, it's just I would say a big part of it is being a genuine person. Okay. I don't get around women and act crazy and shit like that. It's more so of a private thing. But as far as like the fan base, I feel like that just came along with other women seeing. Okay.
So it's like one by one, it just kind
of... Yeah, I think it came like that.
All right. So I know you're a photographer. So talk to me about the story of how you became a photographer, how you got in it. What was your moment? Was like, okay, I want to do this.
So I actually started with me and my friend Malik. We was in middle school, 8th grade. And we always used to watch these videos, GTA in the Hood. I don't know if you ever seen any.
I never watched
them. They're on YouTube. They're like little role play videos where you just act like, on Grand Theft Auto, you just act like, play the role type shit. Like you're really in the hood type shit like that. So we decided to make a storyline about that because we seen people making YouTube videos getting big views. So 9th grade, he went to City High and they had a program where you get your own laptop and shit. So they had an editing class. So I remember it so vividly. Sunday, 9th grade, winter break. It was a Sunday. It was the last day of winter break. We decided to just make a video. We wrote a short script, like real fast. Then we recorded the video on the PlayStation. He edited it. We posted it on YouTube. It was doing like views. Like not like 100,000, but we had like 2,000. I was like, oh snap. Yeah. So from there, 9th grade, that's when I transitioned. I'm like, I want to direct, like for real. So that's my thing. From there, we started making more videos. And that was the first time I seen a check from art because at the time we signed to, you had partnerships on YouTube. We had it was like a 70-30 partnership with Universal. They had like their own YouTube creator type thing. And I seen like a $50 check from that month. I was like, yo, this is hard. Off like a little bit of views we had. At the time, YouTube was like, you could post anything you want for real and get paid from it. So from there, I just had this focus, like, I wanted to direct, you know what I'm saying? Okay. So end of 11th grade, I ended up getting a camera. I really didn't take pictures or anything with it until like 12th grade, like late 12th grade, I was taking pictures. And as soon as I graduated, I was randomly decided like, yo, I want to shoot a model. Because I only shot my friends at the time. I want to shoot a real model. And we actually shot, her name was Norma Cousin. She was a silent model. We actually shot in the South Side. You know where the big butterfly mural is? Right down. That's where we shot, right there. And that was the first picture like I ever took. I posted it on Instagram. Everybody was like, "Oh shit, like this is hard." So that's when I was like, "Oh snap, like I kind of want to do this."
So, how much of the response of people played into you actually want to do it long term? Was it something that you had, like, is it previous passion from when you were a child? Like you've always had a feel for directing or creating or executing a vision? Or was it like, oh shit, I'm good at this and people are responding to it, so it kind of leaned you more?
It was more so that. I really don't have like a story like growing up, I was around cameras and all that. It was more so like, I found my passion basically. Because nobody in my family like is an artist, nobody. Like literally my mom's hospital, my brother, he wants to be a physical therapist. So, but my mom did go to fashion school when she was in high school. and she went to college for fashion. So I guess some part could come from that. But like I said, I didn't grow up with like, oh, I'm running around the house with this camera.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Did you have like a moment or experience that kind of cultivated it long term? Like, I'm definitely going to do this. Like something big that happened that you never expected that was like, I can really do this.
Yeah. So we graduated 2017. So that summer I shot my first editorial. Editorial is like a fashion where you have multiple looks to tell a story. And we shot one. It was with this model I met in college. That was my freshman year, so I met her in college. And I went in like to the thrift store. I got these 1960s inspired like vests and all this suits. We did 3 looks. We shot it downtown. We shot 1 look downtown, and we shot 2 in the studio. That was the first time I ever spent money to do a shoot. That was the first time I had an assistant. And the girl wasn't even a model. She was just a girl I seen downtown. That was it. So yeah, once I shot that, I posted it, and that's when people was like really going crazy, because I don't know if you remember, but around like 2018, not so many people here were doing like editorial things. They were more so like, hey, let's walk around downtown or something. Let's go here.
Explain for the viewers what an editorial is.
So editorial is basically images that can tell a story with, you really want to tell a story with your clothing though. That's the whole purpose of it. It's telling the story with the clothing. So like I said, we was 1960s. That's what the images were. And I felt like I executed that plan well. Like I said, I had an assistant, and then I had the model, and that's when I really was like, yo, I want to do this shit for real.
So, as far as you being a photographer, the first time I seen something, because I pay attention to when like people have potential, or they work hard, or just I see little shit, right? And you posted something on your story, and it was like a compilation of different, it might have been 2000s women, and it was like a board of them. And I think you were planning out a shoot, but you were using these inspired looks. Yeah. And I'm a person that likes to put shit on paper. So I got friends who I work with where it's like we meet and I got shit on paper. Here's a piece for you. Here's a piece for you. That's just something I'm interested in. So when I see you do that, I was like, okay, like he kind of has a process. So you want to talk about your creative process when it comes to doing a shoot?
I'm a physical person, like you say. I'm definitely physical. I shoot film, analog. I like everything analog. I like to touch things, like look at it physically, not through a screen. So planning a shoot is more so starting with the research part. You want to, like, what do you want to shoot, basically? You know what I'm saying? What do you want your story to tell, whether it's editorial or whether it's for a show? You know what I'm saying? What do you want the viewer to gain from it, if anything at all, if you want them to just make up their own story? But my process usually starts with books, a lot of photography books. That's a lot. I have a lot of them, and I would go through books before I hit the internet, just so I know like what I want to shoot. So after I go through the books, that's when I hit the internet, start looking at references. So I don't know, an example. Say we're doing 1980s. All right. So I'll look through my books, because I have books, like a whole bunch of books based in each year of fashion. So I look through 1980s. Boom, boom, boom. Look how the photography was shot. Look at what they were wearing. Then I'll hit the internet. Okay, what was going on around this time? What was happening around the world? After that, then comes the styling part. That's the big thing, is the styling, because to tell a story, the clothing has to tell it, you know what I'm saying? I look for the styling if I don't have a stylist, but usually I like to do things first before I put somebody else, like incorporate somebody else. After that comes really searching for the model. The thing about the model is she gotta have the right look for me. Like, it has to be the right look. Has to be the right look. It's not just, oh, you're my friend, let's, you know what I'm saying? Right. If she doesn't have a look, I'm not gonna, pick them. So after that, it's really about like, hey, we gonna shoot it in the studio, we gonna shoot it on location. Then you grab, if you have a team, grab your team and get to work. That's really.
Okay. Interesting. So whenever you're in photography, me personally, I like to compare a lot of things to music. So when I'm writing a book, I'm looking at it like I'm creating an album, because I want the reader to experience it and it be cohesive and it flow correctly. So you as a photographer, whenever you plan a shoot out, are you trying to tell a story of your own, or are you allowing that person to tell their story? Like, how does Like, where do
So
you
I look at
for
it exactly like you just said. An album, I say album mixtapes. Artists come out, well, in the earlier days, artists would drop a mixtape before they drop the album. You know what I'm saying? Just to get the hype around.
Right.
A mixtape consisted of remixes of songs that, you know, they just wanted to do anything. For Lil Wayne, for example, he just wanted to have fun on this shit. So he put people on and stuff like that. But the album was always more serious, you know, because that's what sells. So for me, it's more so of like a book or an exhibition.
Okay.
Right? So a book can also be your album, but I like to say the exhibition is your album because that's where people come in, look at everything, and then I use the book as a mixtape sometimes.
Okay.
Or I know a lot of people who do their show and they like to put images that was not incorporated in the show to add them in a book, and then they drop the book. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's like both of them's the album. That's like the big thing as a photographer.
Okay. So another reason your story resonates with me is you dropped out of college, and I'm also a college dropout. So you speak to me about, number one, your journey through high school as a photographer, and then when you graduate senior year and you decide to go to college, what's like some of the events that take place that you decide to drop out?
Like I said, in high school I wasn't doing too much like photography because I got my camera 11th grade, so I really wasn't shooting nothing for it. It was just fucking around with my friends. It was more so that summer transition into college. I got in 9th grade, what's it called? Freshman year, my bad. Freshman year of college. I was in, what they call that? It's digital photography, but it's like the very, very beginning.
Okay.
So, I'm lying. Let me back it up. I went to school for film freshman year.
Okay.
Went to school for film because, like I said, I wanted to direct. Film was cool. I loved everything about it. We all got to shoot our own movie each. Loved everything. It was a long process because people forget, like, we're in this film program, but also you have other classes. So we're sitting here trying to write scripts, trying to get sets right and all that, but we still got all these other classes. So I was kind of doing bad in the other classes too. I'm not going to lie, because I was dedicated to that film shit. But over that freshman year, summer, like when the semester was over, I really, really fell in love with photography that summer. Like I was just shooting a lot. And that's when I started to build my name up. Because I started doing a lot of photography. And then I switched majors, so I lost my scholarship. Because at Point Park, if you go to school for film or dance, it's a different program, separated from the school. So you get a scholarship to go there. So I lost my scholarship. And then I basically had to start over my sophomore year. I started over. And I was in the basic photography class. But I was like, the beginner, like people who want to get into photography, because I switched my major. So I started in that class, it was literally everybody, they didn't know much about it, but I was already experienced. Because like I said, over that summer, I was shooting a lot. And the teacher loved me. Definitely shout out to him. Last time I probably talked to him was like 2 years ago. I emailed him, just sent him my work. But he definitely loved me. I'd be fooling around with people like, oh, he inspired me to drop out. But it was like, because I told him, like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. I want to do it on my own. Yeah. He was like, you have the talent. Even with our projects we would do in that class, it was like, you can tell I was like, I don't even want to sound cocky. It's just, like, you can tell, like, who. You're separated. Like, I was separated from everybody else. Because, like I said, this was a beginner class. But to me, I'm not a beginner because I was already doing most of the work.
So how does the decision to drop out of college change your life? How does mom react? How does the family react? What's your plan? What's your mental health?
To me, it was a relief when I dropped out. It was definitely a relief. My mom definitely felt some type of way. I ended up releasing some hoodies, but I made it for myself first. It was my parents won't understand my art career until I'm successful. Because that's how my mom basically felt. It wasn't like she wasn't supporting, she just didn't understand it. So I ended up making those hoodies just for me. I just made one for me, and everybody like related to it. So that's when I ended up dropping them. But I felt a lot of support. Like a lot of people supported me once I dropped out, and I just had to get my life, together. At the time I was working at Target, so I had the job already. So I was just saving my money up, trying to execute ideas to further on my career.
Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna call this a segment, but I want to make the conversation a little messy for a second.
Oh shit!
So, I will ask.
Let me get the big boy one.
Had to get a drink. So, what's your relationship status, bro?
Right now?
Yeah.
Definitely single.
Definitely single.
Yeah.
All right. So, I understand that you're around a lot of beautiful women.
Yeah.
A lot. How are you able to keep your name so clean? And my second question is, are you involving yourself with people that you're around? Like, I feel like you have a very clean name. You'll never hear nothing bad about it. Are you able to maintain just friendships? Or are there times where it's like, no, I want to do this, but I'm going to just be low about it?
Both. I would say the friendships I have, like the people you probably see me like around, probably on Instagram and stuff, those are definitely my friends. I'm not more so like finna, I don't know, those are more so like my friends. I'm not saying I hide people, but I just keep it discreet.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
What was the first question? 'Cause I feel like I answered the second one.
What was the first question? Hold on. I think I asked how you maintain a friendship, and then how. I honestly don't remember.
Oh, how to maintain? Well,
like,
yeah.
how do you keep your focus? I know you're not dibbling and dabbling in everything you're around.
Oh no,
And there could be
you sound like how to
temptation.
keep my focus. Like, okay, there's women here, and then like my
Keep-
career, or just
Keep those two things separated, because I feel like usually when you're around a lot of women, you're either
Yeah.
out having a good time or is attached to photography. So how are you able to keep those two things separate? Like, we're just here to do this. I understand that you're a beautiful young lady, but I'm focused. I feel like a lot of men have trouble with being around women and their careers or whatever, and keeping it at a friendship. And letting
yeah,
it just be
that was yeah, that's a big problem in the city. That's why now you see more so women photographers getting the shine, because definitely shout out to all the women photographers, but a lot of niggas shooting with a camera. I call them niggas with a camera because that's what they are. They use it as like to pick up women, right? I never had that approach. Like I said, I grew up around all women, so
the respect level is different.
yeah, the respect level is different. I never. It always been separated. Like I always separated that every time.
And is that something that's natural, or is it something that you?
Yeah,
have
because
to?
I never like had the urge to be like, oh, like I want her after I photograph her.
Yeah,
You know what
that's
I'm
weird.
saying? That is weird. There's a lot of people that do that. They'll photograph a model and then literally after the shoot they'll be like,
what's up?
like, I don't know. I feel like things like that, you gotta let it happen. You gotta let it happen. Cause I have been in an instance like that, but it was more so the girl. I'm more of a nonchalant person. I'm gonna keep it, and I'm gonna always be upfront about things. But yeah, I only ever been in one situation like that. So
Okay. So another situation, I want to talk about the brand that you've been able to build for yourself, because I feel like it's completely separated from photography.
yeah,
Just even when we was talking about the marketing and etc. for Hardy Studios, I wrote the preconceived perception of Martell. I wrote that for you so you can create content out of it, because I know people are watching. So like, how can I explain it? You have a brand that's similar to like an artist.
yeah.
So I feel like and I think it's intentional, I don't know for sure, but I feel like you move around in a certain way that's like a brand or like something like that. And I created a marketing name out of it. I call it brand blending. When you attach yourself to something that's popular, that's not it's necessarily your career. And just seeing you was how I was able to do that. So are you intentional about your branding? And who are some of the people that you use as reference?
When it comes to branding, I'm definitely intentional. Well, what I've seen from when I first started photography, everybody was mainly a photographer. I hate when I come around people to be like, oh, that's the photographer. So I started changing up things. I started showing more of my life, kinda. And that was definitely intentional because I wanted to show like, I'm a photographer, but like I'm a normal person, you know? I have fun. Even now, I'm like, I don't even post my work on Instagram. I just keep it on a website or I'll send it to people. So like, I don't know. I want people to know I'm a real person.
Don't want the photography name attached to you? Is that why you don't post it on
No,
Instagram?
you can like, no, it's just more so, I just have I have a life. I don't know. It's like, I have a life, you know what I'm saying?
So
People.
Martell and photography are two
two separate things.
entities. Okay. That
I
makes
just want to
sense.
show people like I have a life, because like I said, a lot of people are just focused on when you're a photographer or any art form, they're just like, oh, that's that person. You know what I'm saying? They don't know what their life is. I mean, some people do like to keep their life separated and stuff like that, but I show things up to like a certain extent, basically.
I feel like you show like it looks a certain way. Like I said, I see shit differently. So most people are just absorbing the content. I'm studying like the way shit is being posted. So it's like, okay, I can see why you posted this way with these words and etc. So I tip my hat to it. The reason you're here at Hardy Studios. I want to talk about Hardy Studios. So tell me about the concept, when you thought of the idea, the goals for it.
Hardy Studios came up in 2019. It was literally just like, that wasn't the name at first. I didn't have a name for it, but I just had this idea of creating a team and us just moving together, like as a team.
Right.
Such as like a record label, you know what I'm saying? I used ASAP Mob for a reference for that. I think it was ASAP Mob, and I think that was it. But I used them as a reference. So when COVID hit, 2021, or 2020. 2021. 2020? Yeah, because that's when I turned like 21. Spring. Yeah, that's when I turned 21. So that's when I really locked in and focused on what do I want to do? What's next? I can't just keep posting pictures and doing photography and people not, like, everybody does that, you know what I'm saying? Everybody do that.
Gotta create the
separation. I wanted to do something different. And this year, end of last year, my bad, I transitioned into Pittsburgh Fashion Week. So,
that's my next question.
Pittsburgh Fashion Week, it was a good idea to me in my head. It was like, they need help, and I can change that, you know what I'm saying? I grabbed my friend, Ryan. You said that was your next question?
Yeah.
I'll just then like keep it brief. But I grabbed my friend Ryan, and we approached the executive director, John, and he was like, yeah, that's a good idea. We approached our ideas. It's like, that's a good idea. Let's do this, blah, blah, blah. Then a whole bunch of shit started happening. I'm like, man, fuck this. I have this idea I had from 2019. I'm about to do this shit. Why not? You know what I'm saying? Why not?
So it was originally something that you was trying to take to incorporate into Pittsburgh Fashion Week, and then
No, not really. It was Pittsburgh Fashion Week forced me to push that idea more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was like they were both separated, but it pushed me to like do it more. Like, fuck it, it's time to start this. No.
Okay. So I seen you drop the Pittsburgh Fashion Week sucks. What was the exchange that happened that kind of got you off of the team? And
it was. So we had a meeting. Our first meeting was interesting. Like, it was everybody, the team, the Pittsburgh Fashion Week team. In my opinion, none of them had knowledge of fashion. None of them. And me and Ryan would pitch our ideas, and they were iffy about them. They were like iffy. They were very unorganized too. But we still stayed on. And as time went on, I would talk to John a lot. I would have meetings with him, and I would pitch like different ideas because they were still sticking to the original thing they had before COVID, right? So I'm like, that's BS. Like, we need new things. My name's on this now. I'm trying to come in and bring new ideas, and I pitched like a hair fashion show. I wanted a photographer model meetup, just things like that. Yeah, different things. But they consistently wanted to stay with this James Bond soiree, whatever the fuck that is. I don't know. They're like in a cult. It's like this James Bond cult. I don't know how that has. What the fuck does that have to do with Pittsburgh Fashion Week? No, for real. No, I'm dead ass. Like, what does he have to do with Pittsburgh Fashion Week? They had an idea, like they did last year, I guess, a dog fashion show. Why? It's about clothing. It's not about, like, the dog has nothing to do with anything. It was just things like that, right? I was pitching ideas. Then he finally, he kept telling me no. I was getting mad now because I'm like, I'm on this team, but y'all not trying to change anything. Right. That's the whole point. I'm trying to bring in more black artists, models, things like that. So, it was like February, March, around there. That's when he was like, yeah, we're going to keep all the same models from last year. Meanwhile, they all had to get a COVID shot. A lot of models didn't have the shot. Yeah. So a lot of them was cut. I'm like, we need to bring in new models. He's like, no, we're going to keep the same people, because if we bring in new models, the other models are going to be mad, and the people who didn't get accepted the first time will be mad. I'm like, I don't think they care. They just want something different, you know. Then March, it was March, because that's when I went to Atlanta. I had this idea. I'm like, I don't want to be on this anymore. I don't. They're unorganized. Clearly, they don't want to listen to any ideas. They want to do things their way. It's not even they. It's him, the executive director, Jajuan. He's just the old white dude. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't.
He's just stuck in.
He's just the old white dude. I don't know. Like I said, none of them really knew much about fashion. So I don't even know how the thing was still running. I don't know. But yeah, I ended up, when I left Atlanta, I had a meeting with him on that Monday. I left Sunday. I had a meeting with him on Monday. But he ended up calling me on Sunday on my way back from Atlanta. He's like, hey, Martell, yeah, I don't think we need you anymore. And it was like such a relief. I'm like, damn, I don't have to go to this meeting on Monday and say, like, I don't want to be here anymore. So after that, that's when I started like really focusing on Hardy Studios. Mm-hmm. I grabbed their audience and brought it to all the audience from the Pittsburgh Fashion Week page. I grabbed them and moved them to my page, Hardy Studios. So that's how the support also came.
Okay. So I hear a lot that I feel like a lot of people encourage me to move to another state, and they will say you would probably be famous there, you would probably have more notoriety there, etc. And to hear you experience something like that in Pittsburgh with an actual entity, as far as that goes, along with, you know, creativity, mm-hmm. and you feel like you were shunned and your ideas weren't appreciated. What's your stance on moving, staying? Like, where are you at with that?
For me, I'm not in a rush to move. I prefer traveling. I mean, it's not like need to move somewhere. You know, I started a whole company, and also right now things are going good. You know, I'm building from the ground up. Really, everything's building from the ground up at the beginning. So I encourage traveling. You know, I don't think, in my opinion, I'm not the person to just get up and move. I like to have shit in place. You know, I travel to Atlanta a lot. I'm thinking about moving to Atlanta, but I know if I was to get up and move today, I had people to stay with down there because of the past years. I always travel down there. You know, I'm not one of people to just get up and go. It got to be a plan, because in instances you can get up and move to anywhere you want to. It's still gonna be the same thing if you don't have something going on already.
Foundation. Mm-hmm. Okay, so tell me the overall goal of Hardy Studios. Like, what are you trying to establish? Are you trying to become like the next GQ, where it's a magazine, but they take on artists and they'll take your cover, like they did for Future? They styled him and then took his album cover, mm-hmm. wrote a report on him, and etc. Like, I
really just wanted to be like an empire, basically. I wanted to be the main hub for artists to come and figure out what they want to do. You know, I really don't have an end goal to it. I say my next goal is a building. I tell people that. Mm-hmm. That's what I've been telling people now. It's like, I want that building with that big ass logo on the front saying Hardy Studios. That's really like the next goal. But like the end goal, I just want it to be just known as like those people who really can create some shit. You know, who can really make the movies, who can really do the shoots, who can produce content that you don't necessarily see.
I was about to say, you got to stick with it. Now you got the shit tatted. Ain't no going back.
Facts.
You gonna have
Facts.
to go
That's
with
when
what
I
you
knew
got.
it was. That's when I knew it was really, really for real, and I was dedicated to it.
Okay, I seen the what's that called? The car wash shoot.
Yeah.
So was that a separate brand that you just kind of creative directed for, like the swimsuits?
No, that was my friend Faith's brand. I met her a couple years ago. She's very talented, like in designing and stuff. I traveled to DC to watch her shows, because that's how dedicated I was. I'm like, yo, you're really hard. You know what I'm saying? So we had this idea of, I can say it now, but we had this idea of creating a swimsuit together. That's what we're working on. But also, she was releasing her swimsuits at the same time, and she already released them. And I'm like, okay, I want to shoot your swimsuits. I feel like the team can experience something different by doing a swimsuit shoot,
right?
Because you don't really see like too many people as a brand like making swimsuits and then other people shooting them. More so people make, you know, the shirt, t-shirts and stuff like that. Okay. So I felt like for the team it would be a challenge.
Okay, closeout question for you. We're coming up on, what, 35 minutes? What is Martell's next personal goal? And then as far as Hardy Studios, what are the goals for that?
Personal goals, I want to say right now I'm working on my solo exhibition.
Okay.
I'm big on that. A couple years ago, 2020, I had the idea of shooting my family, but COVID happened and a lot of them like started dying. It was like so weird. I don't even know it was like necessarily because of COVID. It was just the older folks in my family. Like I said, I grew up around women, so the show was going to be dedicated to all the women. Right. I want to photograph them, and a lot of them were older. So I scratched that idea. Like I just scratched it. I was like, I don't know if I ever want to do that again, because like I just think about it now that people died during that time. Right now I'm working on a solo exhibition, and this one's about love and nostalgia.
Okay.
That's really it for me personally. I'm still writing a lot. I just got back into like really wanting to
fruit fly. I'm sorry, I'm trying to ignore the whole damn interview. God damn.
I just got back into directing and you know, doing video. So I've been writing a lot, trying to like sharpen my pen as a screenwriter. Mm-hmm. And for Hardy Studios, next thing, man, I really want us to shoot a magazine project. You know, I want somebody to book us to shoot something.
Okay.
Yeah, and definitely shout out to the team.
Okay. You want to drop an Instagram, both yours, Hardy Studios, website, just anything you got coming soon?
Yeah, you can find me at Tell Hardy. It's fly. You can find me at Tell Hardy everywhere, TELLHARDY. And then Hardy Studios, HARDY.studios on Instagram. And you said what's coming?
Yeah. What's next?
What's next?
This will drop next Friday.
Oh yeah. Drop next Friday. See, I tried to get my mind off that today. That's why I was planning to switch. But yeah, next we're dropping our first garment I like designed. And that was an interesting process where I designed it and I'm like, yeah, I fuck with it. Even though it's like, okay, it's just a logo, it's just something different because it was something from scratch, like I did. And definitely shout out to all the designers that helped me do that shit, because I took a year to really learn. You know, I like to invest in what I want to do. And we're shooting a commercial for that very soon. And that's going to be the first drop. And after that, we'll probably go on a break. And so that's really it.
Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming. Thankful to have you, bro. It's been I waited like 7-8 months, made sure it was right. So thank you a lot for coming.
Of course.
Proud of everything you're doing. I acknowledge and I see who you are as a creator, and you know, I tip my hat to it.
Appreciate it.
Viewers, thank y'all for tuning in to episode 7 of Untitled Interviews. We got more content coming soon. That's a wrap.